Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Friday, you guys. Um, I'm going to give everyone a moment to arrive, a moment to settle in. How's everybody doing today? I hope you have had I feel like it's hard to say I hope you've had a good week because it really feels like the world is kind of turned on its head right now. So I don't know if there's such a thing as having a good week. Um, if you're having a tumultuous week, if your week is like a roller coaster, that means that you're in it, right? It means that you're present, not just within you, but also with what's happening in the world. Um, it's a good thing to feel a little messed up right now, I think. I was really sitting with that yesterday. I've had a really, really challenging week in every layer of my life and of our global space, I think. And I had this moment yesterday where I was like, oh, I really feel terrible. Like I've had a week where I just felt terrible in my body. I felt terrible about the state of the world. I felt hopeful also, but I've just sensed a lot of suffering and pain and felt really overwhelmed. That's a good feeling, like an overwhelm, basically, an overload. And I had a moment yesterday where for the, fifth day in a row, I wake up with this headache. It's like I'm wearing a helmet, like a brain foggy type of headache. And I just tilted my head back and I like asked God, like, why do I have to feel so shitty? And I had this moment where I was like, hey, like if I had a great week, if right now you've had the best week of your life, you feel fantastic, life is awesome, that would mean you're not in tune, right, with what's happening in the world. That probably means that you're in a little box of your own life. So if you're not feeling great, if you're feeling all over the place, you're overwhelmed, you're sad, you're, all the stuff happening inside of you, congratulations. It means you're a human being. And it also means that you're currently really present, I think. Present with what's happening around you, present with what's happening inside of you. So, on that note, welcome to our shaking meditation of the week. If it's your first time shaking and you feel a little bit nervous about it, don't worry. I'm going to explain exactly how we shake. If you're tuning in on Instagram or YouTube or anywhere else, the shaking meditation happens on yogagirl.com. So I'm going to pull a card for everybody now, and then we're going to head over to yogagirl.com for the shaking meditation. So you can head over there now if you're not there yet. But we're going to shake today. If it's your first time shaking, I'm going to explain exactly how we shake. Um, and I kind of share this every time. Some of you guys are here every single week shaking with me on the site, which is awesome. It's one of my favorite practices. It's such a simple practice. Once you start kind of getting into the motions of having a shaking practice, it is the easiest thing. It's easier for me than asana. It's easier for me than, dynamic meditation, than Vipassana style, than any other form of centering myself, because literally you don't really need anything. You don't even need me. You don't need this platform. You don't need the music. Like you can do this completely on your own. Um, Shaking is a primal thing. It's a physiological function within the body. All mammals shake. All animals shake. And humans shake also, but usually in extreme moments of like extreme heat, extreme cold, or when we're in that kind of fight or flight space. When there's a lot of adrenaline surging through the body, we sometimes can involuntarily shake, or if we're very fearful or scared of something. So what happens when we move through really challenging moments in our lives, especially if we've been through some sort of shock, and I like the word shock sometimes over trauma. I think we have a big idea in our heads of a trauma has to be something really terrible, right? A trauma has to be like this big thing. So we tend to minimize our own stuff sometimes. Where actually trauma is not defined by what happened to you, but it's defined by how you were, whether or not you were able to receive it, right? So anything that came your way too fast, too much, too soon, that's a trauma. Anything you weren't ready for, you weren't ready to perceive or to receive, right? So any of those moments that you've had in your life, you might have had a lot, and you didn't have maybe a safe space to process that, right? Or maybe the tools even to process and move through that. The quiet, to process that. It becomes absorbed by the body, right? The body is this genius mechanism. The body is our greatest asset. It's such a genius thing, this body that we all have, that we spend so much time beating up, We spend so much time like judging our bodies and hating our bodies and telling ourselves we're not good enough and we should be stronger or faster or thinner or whatever, when actually your body is this perfectly designed mechanism that holds your whole entire life, right? So whenever you have a moment that comes your way where it was too much, too fast, too soon, and you can't process, it's okay. Your body holds that for you, right? So any moment, any experience that you had that was really challenging in your life that you didn't process, it's going to sit and remain in the body. And there's been a lot of studies on that, on how trauma resides actually physically. You can sense or see the vibration of trauma stuck in the nervous system, stuck in the spine. So what shaking does, and shaking is a practice that's used also as trauma release. What we're going to do today is a little bit different, but what shaking does, it allows you to tap into that vibration that might already exist within your nervous system. So if you're up here and you're vibrating on this level of like, oh my God, hyper vigilant, I have to keep track of everything, I have to keep controlling everything, make sure everybody's okay. If you're in this high alert space, which a lot of us are, a lot of people are, what shaking can do, it's kind of like you're meeting yourself in that vibration and you can bring it down, right? So you can bring that vibration from your head, from the fear, from the thoughts, from the problems, from the worries, from whatever's stuck, right? That story, that narrative, down into the heart space, down into the belly, and then most importantly, down into the legs. The legs, the feet, so important that we can bring some energy into the lower levels, the lower ends of the physical body to anchor ourselves, right? To ground ourselves, to really feel present here now. So if you ever have a moment, these days, these weeks where you feel like I'm spinning out of control, maybe you're having mega anxiety, you feel like really you don't know how to manage the situation, shake, right? Give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I have a lot of playlists on the Yoga Girl Spotify if you feel like you don't know what music to put, but any music that allows you just to move a little bit. And then do this kind of shaking just to settle your nervous system a little bit, right? It's a great way to reset the body. It's also super good for the body. It's great for the lymphatic system. And it actually hydrates the cells in a way that no other forms of movement does. So, like jumping on a trampoline, if you have that, that's similar to shaking. Anyway, I could be a shaking saleswoman because I love it so much. You're just going to feel really good, right? And today, so we have a moon in Pisces. It's a really emotional day. Last 2 days have been, at least for me, I don't know if you feel the same. I'm guessing you do. Super sensitive, right? If you're feeling really sensitive right now, if you feel like your heart is fragile, like you have your heart on your sleeve, almost like you can't contain your emotions right now, you can blame the moon if you want. Everything, of course, is kind of perfectly orchestrated to bring us here now. But we have a moon in Pisces, so we are heightened in this state of our awareness right now. And these days, also where the moon is at, the last quarter moon, really great moment to release and let go, right? So whatever it is you feel like you've been holding on to for a long time, whether that's something that maybe you've picked up over the past few weeks, like if it's a lot of feeling, maybe a lot of overwhelm, maybe a feeling of hopelessness, maybe a feeling of wanting to do more but not knowing how, a feeling of wanting to show up but feeling small. We go through so much around us and it's going to be reflected within us, and of course the other way around. So shaking, you can set an intention before we shake of, I want to let something go. I want to put something down, right? Maybe it's a story you're telling yourself. It's that narrative, that old belief, something holding you back, something that's keeping you from showing up, as your most empowered self right now. Whatever you want to put down. It could also be something physical. I'm going to shake. I want to get rid of this brain fog that I have going on. I don't know exactly what it is. It feels really emotional, energetic too. And I feel a little frozen in it. So I want to release whatever I have in the way. And today's a great day for that. I have journaling prompts for us today, and I'm going to pick a card. We're going to take a moment to ground before we go over and shake. But I wanted to take a moment to read from my favorite astrology site, or one of my favorite sites, and also from Luminary Parenting. If you don't follow her on Instagram, she's great in terms of astrology. If you're a parent, every day there's like a little snapshot of here is what the day is and what it has in store for you and your kids. And I felt like today was really on point, so I'm going to share that too. But first, from Cafe Astrology, which I like to share every time I go live. So the moon spends the day in the sign of Pisces, meeting with Mars and then Neptune later today. Mars and Neptune are heading into alignment, and the moon hooks into this energy today, pulling our emotions firmly into this equation. Our impulses and desires may be confusing, peculiar, hard to explain, or difficult to understand. And we can be finding beautiful inspiration right now. Not content with our regular routine, we tend to crave more meaning. We're inclined to act on our intuition, on our creative impulses, and our feelings right now. We're looking for inspiration, and we might have trouble gaining the motivation and energy to take action on a matter without it. This Pisces moon is very spiritually aware. So, yes. Okay, and then from luminary parenting. The moon is in Pisces. The last quarter moon is exact early tomorrow morning. We can feel out of sorts today because we're building up to this. We're extra sensitive. This is the time in the moon cycle when we're asked to let go. In this Gemini season moon cycle, what do you need to let go of to see through new eyes? Think a different way or connect with others differently. Ponder these questions today. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling the Pisces moon. Okay, so, oh, you want your phone? Here you go, tech guy. If you're getting your space ready to shake, now would be a good time for that. If you want to light a candle in your house, we are going to have a bit of heart activation at the end of the shake, and then we're going to have a long, long shavasana today. So no dance. We're going to just activate and open the heart a little bit more. I feel like we're in that space right now where half of us need more heart activation. You know, there's a lot of people out there in the world who I feel are lacking compassion right now, or not in that space of being able to feel other people's experiences. Just kind of like, nope, that's not true. Here is me and mine, living a lot from their heads. And then there's a lot of us that are so in our hearts right now that it's like too much, right? It's overwhelming. And you might be sensing this too muchness just all around. So today, when we do our heart activation and our heart balancing practice, wherever you are on the spectrum there, you know, if you're looking to settle, I want you to work with that energy of settling, of grounding, of calming. If you feel disconnected right now, like if you feel like you're a little numb, maybe triggered, maybe annoyed, maybe uncomfortable, like you're not in your heart space, set the intention to rise into that, to expand into that, to open the heart today. Every practice we move into, it's your intention really and your longing that decides the energy of where we go. So, let's shuffle our cards. So if you're joining us for the shake, meet us at yogagirl.com. You can start a free trial if you've never been on the site before. We do free practices for 10 days to see if you like it. Today, we are working with the Animal Spirit deck again. It's the deck of the year, I feel. I don't know. It's the deck that's really speaking really loudly to me. So let's close our eyes. Let's close our eyes. And let's take a cleansing breath, just the way you are. So deep, full inhale in through the nose. Open the mouth. Exhale it out. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath in. And out. And let's bring some awareness to our heart space right now. And without any, preconceived ideas or expectations or what should or should not be present, right? See if you can just tune in to your own heart. And especially if you're an empath or if you feel very in tune with the energy of the world right now, sometimes it can be hard to distinguish between the collective and our own, right? If we are doing this work, we are always going to feel the collective. You're always going to feel compassion and feel that connection to the rest of the world. And it's important, especially if you can drop into that space easily, right? It's important that you have practices that anchor you back into your own, right? Because we can't immediately make a complete shift in the world around us, in the collective, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. And in those moments when we feel overwhelmed or hopeless or really low, we need to have those resources so we can anchor into our own bodies, our own heart, and feel grounded, right? And remember that we're here now. Like this is our place to act from. And the more anchored we are in our own bodies, the easier it's going to be to actually be of real service, right? So we don't spin off into space, but we're present, continuing with our practice of healing, of self-care, and then doing the work alongside of that. So checking here now, how's your heart today? How's your heart today? For me, when I sense into my heart, it's like I can immediately cry. That's how sensitive and also overwhelmed I feel in my own heart these days. So checking in right now for any emotion that might be present that perhaps you haven't had the space to allow lately, right? Especially if we feel a little overwhelmed, sometimes we might turn away from the heart. We might focus on other things or ignore what we're feeling because we don't know what to do with it, right? It's so much. The pain and the suffering of this world, it's a lot, right? So noticing that, checking in with that, feeling into that, and then giving yourself an anchor, right? Giving yourself a resource in this present moment. So you can tune a little deeper into the body and also move to other areas beyond your heart space. Right? Where's an area in your own body right now where you're feeling peace, where you're feeling grounded, where you're sensing a connection. And then take a few moments just to breathe into that place a little bit more, to linger there. Let's take one more deep breath. Exhale it out. And blink your eyes open. What? This is the card we pulled in the last live. You guys. I love it. I love when we pull the same card again and again. So dragonfly. Dragonfly, dragonfly, dragonfly. Oh, wow. We've had a lot of air cards lately. We had the eagle card. We've had dragonfly. Yeah. Okay. So dragonfly. Master of light, illusion, and the mind. The dragonfly is an ancient and ethereal creature that awakens a sense of wonder in all. The dragonfly is a symbol of the mind, as it is always moving, shifting, shimmering, and changing. When the dragonfly card appears, it's worth considering the quality of your mind and perception right now. Are they restless or still? Dreamlike or crystal clear? The situation at hand may be different than it appears at first glance. The dragonfly reminds us to calm the mind so the light of wisdom can shine through. When in balance, the dragonfly sees clearly, is joyful, and magical. When out of balance, the dragonfly can't concentrate. Busy mind. To bring into balance, focus on the breath. Well, okay then. When out of balance, can't concentrate, busy mind, brain fog, overwhelm. I feel like we just spoke about this. When in balance, the dragonfly sees clearly. Okay. Aho. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. I'm going to bring my card over to the mat before we go. So if you're on yogagirl.com, don't go anywhere. We're going to shake. But journaling prompts for the day, as per usual, I have I picked 3. I wrote down 3. I'm going to share 3 journaling prompts. You will pick the one that speaks to you and just write it in your journal or on your phone or wherever you are right now. So the top one that I put was about resources. So it's just a little reminder about resources if you're new to that term. A resource is something that you can grab, and it could be a practice, it could be something that you do, it can be a moment, a place. A resource is something that grounds you, that brings you back into your body, that makes you feel at peace, that makes you calm your mind when the mind is a little bit crazy, right? So a resource is something that brings you back here and now. And hopefully you have a lot of resources that you know really work for you. But it can be good to tune in with what's working now, right? Because maybe what usually works isn't working. We're in a moment of collective crisis. You know, you gotta maybe amp up those resources or change them up a little bit. So the first prompt that I chose is resources that help ground me right now are. So a resource can be exactly this that we're doing now. A shaking meditation is an amazing resource. Resources can be nature, you know, time spent in nature. It can be your yoga practice, can be some sort of physical movement, can be meditation. It can also be spending time with your kids, your pet, baking, cooking, gardening, painting, something creative, right? So it can be anything that just brings you back home. For me right now, the really important resource, I have 2 completely opposite ones that I'm working with. Taking a bath every day. I go through phases of baths, and now it's like 20 minutes in the bath with nothing. No book, no phone, no music, nothing, just me in the bath. And I'm doing dynamic meditation, which is pretty much the opposite of taking a bath. You can Google it later. Second prompt is, I feel at peace within my body when this is a good one. So, of course, relates back to resources. I feel at peace within my body when And third prompt, a practice that grounds me is. A practice that grounds me is. So they all relate to the same thing. Just pick the one that speaks to you. For me, I feel at peace within my body when I'm quiet in the bath. Like that's it for me right now. Okay. If you're on Instagram or YouTube or anywhere else, we're going to say bye. See you over at yogagirl.com. And for everyone already on the